Hey there, kids! It's me, Safari fucking Sam. That just got us 0 monetization potential. But we're here with yet another fun specimen examination video. We're going to be looking at something kind of familiar today, but trust me, it's different than what you've seen in the past. I promise it, I guarantee it. If that's untrue, if we've done something too similar before, I will fuck myself in the ass with something. I don't know. Probably just my fist. But we've got a very cool specimen for all of you today. Today we are looking at a Goniatite. A Goniatite, yeah! Now you might be seeing this for the first time right now and thinking, hey, Safari Sam, isn't that basically just another ammonite? I mean, you showed us an ammonite in a previous episode, and aren't you just kind of doing an ammonite episode again? Well, my response to that would be, no, you dumb fucking cock slut. Absolutely not. This is completely different. Completely different than the ammonite episode. And it actually really is. This is much bigger. It's fancier. You know, but also it is, in actuality, a more specific critter. You know? And it's very cool. So these Goniatids, or Goniatites, whatever, they're ammonid cephalopods, just like ammonites. That's why they're in the ammonid, you know, fucking whatever. And they do come from, like, the primitive Goniatites from, like, the Middle Devonian, which was, like, 390 million years ago, around the Eiffelin stage. Am I pronouncing all these words right? Because I super don't feel like I'm pronouncing all these words right. So these super impressive little fuckers here actually survived the late Devonian extinction. They survived the mass extinction, which is hard to do for, like, anything, right? They flourished during the Carboniferous period when plants were king, and they even flourished during the Permian, only to become, sadly, extinct at the end of the Permian era, which is a little fucked because they're super cool. And they're super cool. They're mollusk cephalopods. We've looked at a couple different mollusk cephalopods on the show. We looked at the ammonite, which is kind of like the ancestor of all the mollusk cephalopods, and they're extinct. And we also looked at, you know, the nautilus in a previous episode, which is, of course, kind of a modern-day version of one of these fuckers. They are, you know, not doing so well population-wise themselves. But hey, they're doing better than these extinct little assholes, right? Like, if you think about it, I'm doing better than, like, Abraham Lincoln. Because Abraham Lincoln's dead, and I'm not, which means I'm better than the man who freed the slaves. What do you mean that's not going to go over well? No, of course I don't think it's offensive. As you can see, you know, they had, like, the spiral shape that a lot of these mollusk cephalopods have. It's very interesting. I like the rock it's preserved in here. It's just a beautiful coloration. Really cool. You can kind of see some cracks and stuff across it, but, you know, all things considered, this is very well preserved. A specimen like this costs maybe about $6. It's a relatively common type of fossil. You should be able to get it pretty easily if you want your own. You know, amateur fossil collectors, you know, this is a good choice for you. This little red bit here is kind of distracting me, you know, because it's just got the kind of beautiful dark and white kind of yin and yang thing going on, and then it's like, oh, there's just kind of a red strip right there, fuck it. Also, I don't know if you noticed this, but you see, like, it kind of almost looks like a cave painting on the side here. And I'm not gonna lie, that's actually just some really cool detail on the rock. It looks super dope. I really like this specimen, and I'm kind of glad I get to do an episode on it, even though we've already kind of done 2 cephalopod mollusk episodes, and I kind of really hope that doesn't just become the norm. But I mean, it's pretty neat. Now, if you saw our episode on the chambered nautilus, pearly nautilus, whatever you want to call it, you probably know why we can't compare this to the nautilus shell from the modern day. Also, it's kind of illegal to obtain them in the States now, unless you're getting one that was in the States before the international trade of nautilus shells was banned. So I can't really compare it to that, but we can take our little fucker here and compare him with the ammonite from, you know, the previous ammonite episode. And it's pretty cool, you know, they're in like different types of rock and stuff, and this one's a more complete fossil, not entirely complete, obviously, but it's a more complete fossil. This one's not much, but I mean, they look really nice together. Like, those will look cool on display together, you know, the spiral cephalopod mollusks. It's very nice. I think, you know, you can kind of see some of the clearer differences here. They are different creatures. Probably, maybe. Are they? Shit, guys, you gotta tell me if these are fucking the same animal, because dead animals aren't... I'm not really an expert on dead animals. I'm really not. The only dead animals I know about are, like, rats and roadkill shit, because that's basically my diet, but if these are the fucking same animal, someone needs to tell me right now, because if so, I'm making a goddamn fool of myself. Anyways, I guess that is today's episode on the Goniatite. It's a very unique little creature. Might even get more just for the personal collection, but that'd probably be way down the road, because this one's pretty new to set. We did buy it just for the show. And if you want to help us get more specimens for the show and help us go to more physical locations and, you know, get a camera operator and have access to live animals and plants and fungi and things like that, then I would highly recommend supporting us on Patreon. If you support us on Patreon, or even just give us a small little donation on Ko-Fi or something, if you do that, it'll really help us out. You know, there are cheap fossils, there are expensive fossils, but every little bit goes towards the show. You know, when you sign up for Patreon, just be like, hey, I want my donation to go to this specific show, and we'll put it towards that specific show every month. 100%, that's what we'll do. There's a lot on there, lots of behind the scenes, lots of exclusive videos, pictures, giveaways, all kinds of crazy stuff on the Patreon. I think you'll all really love it if you just give it a chance. But that's it. Thank you all once again for your support, and I'll see you all next time. Yeah, alright, Jerry, I think maybe we should kind of lay off the cephalopod mollusks for a while. I mean, we had the ammonite, we had the nautilus, we got this fucker, so I don't think we need to do any more for a bit. What do you mean you're planning on having me do a red ammonite episode?